What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside Bama Recruiting, a part of the Bama Standard Network. Guys, we got an exciting time coming up. We're talking about the first official visits coming in May 30th. And look, there's some highlights here. We're talking about 14 recruits coming in. But as usual, we got Stephen M. Smith here to break down the details when we're talking about this official visit weekend happening May 30th with these recruits. Stephen, when you look at this, man, give me 1, 2, 3. Who are you highlighting coming in this weekend that you think is super important to pay attention to?
I think one name, Jonathan, you got to look at is KJ Edwards, the running back from Carthage High School in Texas. This guy can do it all. I mean, he can run, can catch, can block. He's got speed, got power, and in a position at running back where we have seen Alabama churn out some of the best running backs in the country. Got to look at continuing to fine tune that running back room. And I know Edwards, Texas is high on him. You know, Steve Sarkisian wants this young man. The coaching staff down there in Texas wants him, but you look at Alabama, Bama is warm when you look at Edwards, but it comes down to running backs coach Rob Gillespie. What can he say? You know, what can this coaching staff do to really hammer in the point home that they want him and they view him as a priority in terms of their 2026 recruiting board?
Got you. So now a real quick question is, look, you look at Ethan Boobie Feaster, who's coming in on the 30th, right? We already have a prediction of we're going to get Sinceri Morgan. That's what most are hoping for. Now we're looking at Ryan Mosley. We're kind of heating up towards what are the chances that once again, we're talking about 2-3 classes in a row here where we're getting some studs at wide receiver here, but the chances of landing both Sinceri Morgan and then Booby, you know, he puts us in the top, right? So near the top, his commitment's July 4th, but what are the chances on that?
Pretty high. We look at him and Morgan. Jonathan, I'm going to say this. Jamarcus Shepard's an unbelievable job. Jamarcus Shepard is getting these guys to understand if you want to be a dog, you come to the Crimson Tide, and I'm going to coach you into being that dog of an athlete. We saw what Shepard did last season with, of course, Ryan Williams at 17 years old, and, of course, Jeremy Bernard. Now Coach Shep has got Bernard, Williams. You got a chance to put the final polish on Isaiah Horton, to put him in the NFL as a transfer coming from Miami. You got Rico Scott, Latia Brooks, Derek Meadows, just dudes on top of dudes. So Sinceri Morgan and Booby are saying, hey, we come to this official visit and we come to Alabama in some games in the fall, and we're watching what Jamarcus Shepard is doing. We're watching Ryan Grubb as the new OC call the plays so that these wide receivers can get crazy and get active. We can be a part of that for years to come. And we want to be a part of that for years to come. And then to have the potential for years to come, catching the ball from Keon Russell, I mean, who would not want that? So this year is going to play a major role where these receivers are concerned, watching the quarterback and the wide receiver dynamic, watching the dynamic of Ryan Grubb as the new play caller, but then watch the dynamic of Jamarcus Shepard, the wide receivers coach, in all of this.
Yep, no doubt. So look, and I got 2 more players I'm going to highlight here, but one of them I find most interesting is the number 4 linebacker in this class, according to Author. We're talking about Sinceri Johnson out of Cleveland, Ohio, right? Playing out of Glenville. We're talking about Ohio State's backyard. And the fact when he added Alabama to his top of his list, it blew a lot of people away. They really thought that was not going to happen. But you're looking at the chance of Sinceri Johnson, Xavier Griffin, right? There's obviously a possibility with Nick Abrams II. The list goes on and on to name here. But the fact that we can travel up north in Ohio State's backyard and at least make the list for Sinceri Johnson, give me your take on that.
This tells you Kalen DeBoer can recruit. That was the one thing people were kind of nervous about. Is he's never experienced the SEC. He's never experienced the South. Can he really recruit? Does he know what grits are? Does he know what shrimp is? Does he know how to recruit down here? He is showing you I can recruit. That's never been an issue for me. So the fact that Kalen DeBoer, Kane Womack, this defensive coaching staff is going up to these areas and are being able to pull the top of the top, that just shows you they can recruit. They know how to sell the program on the kids. They know how to foster the relationships with these young men. They know what to say to get your attention.
Yep, no doubt here. So, in the last one, I'm going to highlight before I run through the list really quick to show everybody what we're talking about here. Look, we're talking about what they're going to say the main attraction, rolling out the red carpet, whatever you want to say. But we're talking about the number 3 safety in this class. Jett Washington will be visiting on the 30th out of Las Vegas, Nevada. The favorite right now, a lot of people are saying Oregon, but they're saying Alabama is neck and neck with Oregon here with Jett. So give me your take on him.
That with Jett, you look at the job that Maurice Linguist has done as the cornerbacks coach, the relationship he has with him. You look at Jason Jones, getting him back into the fold as a coach here on staff. Jason Jones, who played at Alabama, he's coached at Alabama before. Now he's back. He knows safety position. He knows that group like the back of his hand. Having Jason Jones, having Maurice Linguist, and I keep saying this, having Kane Womack. If you're an Alabama fan, you got to keep Kane Womack, because after this season, you're going to have a lot of colleges looking at him to be a head coach because he's just that good. We saw the back half of last year, that 4-2-5 defense really started to pop in terms of creating turnovers, getting takeaways, creating havoc. And Jett Williams sees, hey, I can be in a defense that can create some havoc from a safety position with that vision coverage that Womack brings to the table. He sees that. Yes, he knows if I go to Oregon, Phil Knight, Nike can get the jersey swag. You'll love that. But if I'm trying to go to the NFL, I'm trying to play grown man football, Alabama is still putting people in grown man football when you talk about the NFL. You just saw Malachi Moore get drafted by the New York Jets. So Jett sees that.
No doubt. And look, a lot of people overlooked Brian Branch. My God, we saw what he did in Detroit his first year. You know what I mean? So it goes on and on here. So to run through the list real quick for everybody out there, KJ Edwards, obviously Boo Feaster, Ryan Mosley, Xavier Tiller, the number 11 tight. By the way, Alabama's hitting tight ends really heavy here. Malachi Lee, who just announced Alabama in his top 4, by the way. Deacon Schmidt, Bryson Cooley, Nolan Wilson, Titan Davis. I have the list on the screen for you guys to watch here. So JJ Finch, Kevin KJ Ford, Sinceri Johnson, Braden Rouse, and Jett Washington. Obviously, is there anybody else you want to highlight on here? Because, man, it seems like the tight end position is just getting hot and heavy, like not just from the portal, but now it seems like moving forward, we're really going to be attacking that position in the recruiting classes.
Well, Kalen DeBoer has never shied away, Jonathan, from wanting the tight end room, right? Whether he was at Sioux Falls, whether he was at Fresno State, whether he was at Washington, Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb popped out tight ends. So now that's become a focal point with Robbie Oots now in the NFL, CJ Dupree now in the NFL. You know what you're getting from Josh Cuevas. Like, you know this. Danny Lewis, you're not quite sure. He's talented, but you're not quite sure. Jay Lindsey, you're not quite sure. Marshall Pritchett, Caleb Edwards, 2 highly talented freshmen, and you want to see them develop and do well. But once again, you're not quite sure. That's why you went into the portal and you got Jack Samarco from West Virginia and Brody Dalton from Troy, because you're not quite sure after Josh Cuevas, who do you have back there. So for DeBoer and for Ryan Grubb, they know that tight end position is not just an extension of your offensive line, but nowadays it's an extension of your wide receivers and in your passing game. And you got to have that great move tight end that can get out there in space, make some things happen, running routes, catching the football, having some speed there in the passing game. That's why DeBoer and this staff has put more of an emphasis on, we got to get that move tight end that we can split out wide as an extra receiver.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and guys, by the way, the stigma of, if they're visiting first, they're kind of just giving you the favor. That's gone away. We saw that last season, obviously, when we were having commits showing up on Friday and committing to Alabama on Monday, right? So that stigma, I think, for the most part, has kind of ventured away from what it used to be in the past.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these kids now, Jonathan, they just want to get it done now. They want to get it done. They want to get it over with. They're not all about the romancing and courting all of these schools. No, these kids now going to be make my decision, get it done, commit, so I can be focused on how can this school benefit me in terms of me getting on the field, my education piece, my NIL piece. Like, these kids are much more dialed in now than ever before on, I don't want to just go about this entire process. Let me make my decision now.
No doubt. So anything else you want to highlight as far as this upcoming weekend, or anything else you want to bring up before we jump off here?
I'm just looking forward to, Jonathan, just the weekend and just how the coaching staff sells this thing, right? That's the big thing. How the coaching staff sells this, because Auburn's hot right now in recruiting with Hugh Freeze.
Yep.
He's trying to make sure he gets all the talent in the state. You look at Brian Kelly and how LSU continues to recruit. You look at Kirby Smart in Georgia, what they're trying to bring in. You look at Tennessee and Josh Heupel and what they look to do. Where Alabama is concerned, how does DeBoer and the staff sell all of this in these May 30th visits to where they can get these kids? Because we always know recruiting is the lifeblood of college football. You got to get these kids to commit and sign on the dotted line. So what's going to be the sales pitch? What's going to be the overarching theme when they get the recruits on campus, when they get the parents on campus, the grandparents, the family members, because you got to win them too. You got to win grandma. You got to win grandpa, uncle, auntie, cousin, everybody. I go back to when Saban retired in 2024 January and you brought in Kalen DeBoer, what was the fan base afraid of? How can we keep Ryan Williams? How can DeBoer sell Ryan Williams? And DeBoer got Williams' entire family on the campus and sold the entire family. And that's what brought Ryan back into the fold there. So for these guys on May 30th, how do you sell everybody on this is where your son needs to be at? He needs to be in Tuscaloosa.
There we go, guys. So every week I plan on trying to bring Stephen M here for the next 3 more weeks now, because obviously we have May 30th, we have June 6th, we have June 13th, and then we have June 20th. Those are our official dates for the University of Alabama in these big time visits. So yeah, we'll be giving you guys a weekly update. Hopefully I can get Stephen M here once a week on here to give you the update before we get in to those visits on those Fridays. So Stephen, I appreciate you getting on here, man. Give a shout out if you want to. Let everybody know where they can find you at, your Twitter and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, they can find me at Coaching M. Smith on Twitter, right there at Coaching M. Smith. You can find me right here on the Bama Standard Network on a variety of shows, including my own here at Bama Vision, which is Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time on YouTube. So get your breakfast stuff because we're hitting in the morning on Mondays with Bama Vision. You can also find me here putting articles out on the BamaStandard.com network. Several articles coming out. I am working on a piece now currently of the 3 reasons why having Ty Simpson as a starting quarterback is a tremendous thing. And I think that this young man is going to lead Alabama to a national championship. So be on the lookout there for that article on one Ty Simpson. But Jonathan, this is cool, man. May 30th, guys. You got official visits here. We're going to see what is the mindset of the coaching staff getting these guys for this 2026 class.
No doubt. And I'll be moving up to Tuscaloosa the 28th. I'll be there the 29th, hopefully in time to see some of these visits come through. And guys, just like Stephen M. said, make sure to visit BamaStandard.com. That's where you're going to find, 2 of my articles are sprinkled into Stephen M.'s 20 articles that he stays busy on. And obviously we're going to be updating this website daily to our Twitter feeds and all that stuff. It's going to be filtering through that. So it's definitely a work in progress, but we're building up more and more. So with that being said, appreciate you getting on here, Stephen M. And as always, guys,
roll down tide.